Hey y'all, welcome to the Gyan dive. So, today we're going to talk about chapter 7 of the Gita, which is called the Gyan Vijnana Yoga, or the knowledge of the absolute. So, I am super excited, and so this is one of the most profound or one of the most rich chapters of the Gita. And this is where Lord Krishna moves from philosophy to revelation. He starts showing Arjuna just not how to act, but how to see, how to understand the divine, and that the divine is behind everything that we experience. And this episode will go verse by verse, decoding each section and also connecting it to what it means for us in our modern lives. Our emotions, careers, relationships, and even the search for meaning. So, let's get into it. And if you like episodes like this, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to my channel. Help your sis out. So with that, grab yourself some hot tea and your favorite snack, and let's get into it. So, with Shlok 7.1, Krishna says, "With your mind fixed on me, practicing yoga and taking refuge in me, you will know me completely without doubt." So Krishna begins with a promise. If you stay connected, not just through ritual, but through constant remembrance, you'll come to truly know him. This isn't about blind faith, it's about experiential knowledge, the kind that transforms you from the inside out. In life, we often chase external achievements, but here Krishna invites Arjuna to turn inward, to anchor the mind in the divine. So think about it. How much of your day is spent remembering who you really are? This verse reminds us that self-realization isn't about learning something new. It's about remembering what we've forgotten. Then for 7.2, Krishna says, "I will explain both knowledge and realization. Knowing this, nothing remains to be known." Here, Krishna makes a powerful distinction between Jnana, which is intellectual knowledge, and Vijnana, which is direct realization. It is one thing to know that fire burns, and another to feel its warmth. Similarly, spiritual truth isn't complete until it's lived and felt. You can memorize scriptures, but until you've lived compassion, you haven't truly understood it. So the lesson is, we don't need more information, we need transformation, we need application, right? Now, verse 7.3, "Among thousands, one may strive for perfection. Among those, hardly one truly knows me." This verse feels humbling. Krishna says spiritual realization is rare, not because it's impossible, but because few truly commit to knowing the truth. In our world, people chase success, pleasure, and recognition. Few chase the truth, right? We all know this. So one of the modern reflections or lessons that we can take into our lives from this is that you can spend your whole life mastering your career and still not know yourself. But if you master self-awareness, everything else aligns naturally. So if you're listening to this, you're seeking, you're already part of the rare few, because you're looking for the truth. And for that, kudos to you. Now from verses 7.4 to 7.6, "Earth, water, fire, air, ether, mind, intelligence, and ego are my material energies. Beyond this is my superior energy, the living being." This is one of the most scientific and poetic explanations of creation. So Krishna describes two types of energy here, which is material energy, or prakriti, everything physical, including the mind and the body. And then spiritual energy, jiva, which is the conscious soul that animates all living things. So the lesson here is that matter without consciousness is lifeless. The soul, that spark within you, is divine energy itself. When you realize this, life stops feeling random. Everything becomes connected. So one of the modern reflections that we can do off of this shlok is that the same intelligence that makes planets revolve makes your heart beat. You're not separate from the universe, you're a part of it. This is such an amazing realization to have, because I feel like it changes everything, like the way you view things in life. I think it changes that for you. Verse 7.7, all things rest upon me as pearls are strung on a thread. Krishna gives this beautiful metaphor. The divine is the invisible thread that holds everything together. Though unseen, it's what gives life order and meaning. So the reflection here is that we often get caught up in what we can see, our goals, our image, our possessions. But the most important things, love, faith, connection, are invisible. So ask yourself, what thread holds your life together? If it's ego, you'll feel fragile. But if it's truth and love, you'll feel anchored and grounded. Yeah, that's so true. So take a moment and ask yourself that question and see what comes up. Now from verses 7.8 to 7.11, Krishna says, I'm the taste of water, the light of the sun and the moon, the sound in space, the ability in humans. Krishna shows that spirituality isn't about withdrawing from life. It's about seeing the sacred within it. Krishna says, I'm the taste in water, the fragrance in earth, the courage in the brave, the strength that is free from selfish desire. So the lesson here is that every time you experience beauty, peace, or goodness, you're connecting with the divine. And one of the modern reflections that we can see in this shlok is that next time you drink water, feel gratitude. That's Krishna. When you create, when you help, when you forgive, that's Krishna. Spirituality begins when everyday moments become divine experiences. And this is something that Professor Bryant talked about seeing the divine in everything you do, so that every moment in life becomes a form of seva, right? So we can experience that in that way. From verses 7.12 to 7.14, all beings are deluded by the three modes of nature: sattva, goodness; rajas, passion; and tamas, ignorance. So it is said in the Gita that everything is made up of these three things. These three gunas are like threads that weave our personality and behavior. So like our personality and the way we act is because of these three gunas and how much of the three gunas are in us. So sattva brings clarity and peace. Rajas brings ambition and restlessness. Tamas brings laziness and confusion. So Krishna says these are part of his divine energy, Maya, and only those who surrender to him can rise above them. So one of the modern reflections is that you can't escape nature's pull, but you can become aware of it. When you're angry, restless, or tired, see it as a passing mode and not an identity. Awareness is the first step towards liberation. So I think this is so profound, the fact that we shouldn't identify with these passive emotions, these passing things, because sometimes we associate with them. We're like, oh yeah, I'm an angry person, or I'm lazy. But if we just see them as like modes of nature that pass, like phases, I think that could make our whole identity and what we think of ourselves completely different. So from verses 7.15 to 7.16, 4 kinds of people begin to worship me: the distressed, the seeker of wealth, the curious, and the wise. Krishna never condemns anyone for seeking. He honors every beginning. So the lesson is, when you pray out of pain, that's devotion. When you seek knowledge, that's devotion. When you act selflessly, that's devotion. But the highest is the wise one, who loves God not for gain, but for love itself. So one of the modern reflections here is that we all start our spiritual journeys for different reasons: to heal, to find peace, to succeed, and that's okay. What matters is that we begin. Now from verses 7.17 to 7.18. Of all devotees, the one who loves me without desire or fear is most dear to me. Krishna's favorite devotee isn't the one who prays the most, it's the one who trusts the most. So when you stop asking, what will I get, and start saying, thank you for what I have, that's when devotion becomes love. Love without condition. That is true spirituality. I think this comes down to having gratitude, and I think a lot of people talk about it, that having gratitude is one of the fastest ways to have bliss and to be happy, because when you realize how grateful you are for every small thing that you have, that's what truly gives meaning to life. And this is exactly what Krishna Bhagwan says in this verse. So verse 19. After many lifetimes, the wise realizes that everything is Vasudev, or God. Such a soul is very rare. This verse is really profound, because the highest realization is not escaping the world, it's seeing the divine in the world. So when you see every being as a part of the same consciousness, comparison and jealousy will simply just dissolve. This is the heart of unity, the vision that ends all division. And I feel like we've definitely talked about this in previous chapters of the Gita too, how you should see God in every living being, and how that could help you see everyone as equal and see everyone as part of the same consciousness. Verses 7.20 to 7.23, temporary versus eternal devotion. So those who are driven by desires worship other gods for immediate results, but such rewards are temporary. Krishna explains that even though other paths can give results, they're short-lived. Only connecting with the ultimate truth gives lasting peace. So the lesson here, it's not about who you worship, it's why. If your faith is rooted in desire, peace will always feel conditional. If it's rooted in love, peace becomes permanent. So I feel like it's said that if you do everything in your life out of love instead of any other reason for why you do something, any other motivator, you will find the best results. Yeah. Verses 7.24 to 7.25. Krishna says, fools think I was impersonal before and have now assumed this form. They do not know my higher nature. Here Krishna explains why we struggle to perceive the divine, because we look outward, not inward. He's always present, but our ego and desires act like fog over clear vision. So the divine isn't far away, it's just filtered through our distractions. When you quiet the noise, through meditation, stillness, love, clarity returns. So hence why you should do yoga, right? Verses 7.26 to 7.27. I know all that has happened is happening and will happen, but beings are deluded by duality, desire, and hate. Krishna knows the past, present, and future because he is the awareness that pervades time. But we get trapped into dualities. I want this, I don't want that. The lesson here is that you can't control everything, and that's okay. Letting go of control is not weakness, it's wisdom, and has strength in it. And now, finally, verses 7.28 to 7.30, the path of purification and liberation. Those who act virtuously, freed from delusion, engage in my service with determination, knowing me, they understand birth, death, and the absolute. This is the closing message. As we purify our mind through awareness, service, and love, our perception changes. We see God as not something separate, but as the essence of all existence. So, liberation isn't escaping life, it's living in peace within it. When you act selflessly, love purely, and see unity, you're already free. And now for some of my closing thoughts. So chapter 7, the knowledge of the absolute, teaches us this. You don't have to find God, you just have to recognize him in everything. In water, in light, in love, in yourself. When you live without awareness, each action becomes meditation, every breath becomes prayer, and every moment becomes sacred. I just want to take a moment and thank you guys for being here, for supporting my channel, and for hearing this lovely message that has been present for so many years and that we've never been able to tap into. like when I create these videos, I feel like I'm also able to learn so much, and I'm also able to go on this spiritual journey with you guys. So I'd like to thank you for that, and I want to keep making these videos. It makes me so incredibly happy, and it gives me so much satisfaction making these videos, because I feel like, you know, I'm living out my purpose. Like, since a very young age, I always felt this, like, I felt like I wanted to spread this message. I wanted to bring this divine message to the masses, you know? I always had that in me. So I want to continue doing this, and I'd love to hear your feedback, and I'd love to hear who you'd want to see on this podcast, because it has been quite a while since we invited a guest, and I want to do that super soon. So do let me know. And yeah, guys, have a blessed day, a blessed week ahead of you, and keep the words of the Gita in your heart, and just keep loving and living. I love you guys. Om Namah Shivaya. And with that, we'll end this episode.